theaters are in Gatesville? Well, I'm here to show you in this television documentary. I'll be your host and narrator, Aaron Palmer. To begin our documentary, let's take a trip back in time and imagine that the palace is still in its old location. The palace was located next to the city drug on the north side of Main Street, half a block from the square. The palace opened in 1942 at the same time as Fort Hood opened, and many of the soldiers visited it. When the Powell family was building the palace, they added a balcony. In the late 40s, after World War II, the Skelton brothers bought the palace. The palace's admission was 35 cents for adults and 12 cents for children. Now we'll visit the Texas. The Texas was on the east side of the square. It opened in 1942 and was built by the Powell family. Its admission was 25 cents and 9 cents. Now you see the Ritz. The Ritz was on the middle of the south side of the square. The Ritz opened in the 30s. Its admission was 25 cents and 9 cents. In the 40s, the Ritz burned down, but reopened in the Texas soon after it closed. They also called it the Ritz. Now we're at the Regal. It was located where Sunbelt Savings now stands. The Regal was the #1 cinema in Gatesville, and it was owned by Mr. Brown. Its admission was 50 cents for adults and 12 cents for children. In 1965, the Regal was took over by Gene Palmer and then later sold by Gene Palmer to the Savings and Loan. After thousands of motion pictures viewed by countless moviegoers, the Gatesville Drive-In Theater is still continuing the tradition of outdoor movie presentations. Long ago, just a shadowy memory in much of the country, Gatesville sports the oldest drive-in theater in Texas and one of only a handful still operating in the nation. The drive-in is celebrating its 42nd anniversary this month with various specials featured weekly. Opened in 1950 by the Skelton Brothers Theaters, it was first called the Circle S Drive-In. The admission was 50 cents for adults, and children under 12 were admitted free. The drive-in presented 5 movies a week, one on Sunday and Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and a double feature on Saturday. In the 1951 International Motion Picture Almanac, it was listed along with 300 other drive-ins in the state. It is now the only remaining drive-in theater of that 300 still open full-time. The original screen tower with 3 letter S's in neon and a reader board burned down in 1956. It was replaced with a writer's screen to accommodate CinemaScope pictures. That tower was also lost to a windstorm in 1964 and was replaced at that time by the present structure. Gene and Charlene Palmer purchased the theater from the Skeltons in 1965. Gene went to work in the drive-in way back in 1950 and has been connected with its operation in one form or another ever since. In 1966, we built an air-conditioned building where you could sit inside and watch the drive-in screen, recalled Palmer. That's when we changed the name to the Town and Country Indoor and Outdoor Theater. It was listed in 1968 in the Motion Picture Almanac, along with more than 400 drive-ins in Texas, and was the only one with indoor seats. As you can see, this viewing room has been converted into a video rental store. In the early 1970s, an indoor cinema was added onto the facility and has operated along with the drive-in since. We could contract a movie to run for 2 weeks, he said. The first week in the cinema and the second week on the outdoor screen. The drive-in always seemed to bring the larger crowd. Gatesville has always been a moving-going town, said Palmer. Some nights we would sell 1,400 tickets for the 2 appearances at the drive-in, and the population of the city was only around 3,500. Audie Palmer, the present manager, was born in Gatesville in 1957 when his parents were managing theaters. here belonging to the Skeltons. He and his wife Cindy worked at the theaters in Temple and Huntsville before coming to the Gatesville to reopen the drive-in and cinema in 1991. Since then, the theater has been totally remodeled and operates 7 days a week and shows current releases. The Palmers also operate a video rental business in the lobby of the cinema. The regular admission is $5 a carload, but frequently features other specials. A local car club holds its annual fun run in Gatesville. One of the highlights is a cruise through town, which culminates with everyone coming to the drive-in for the night show. It's really neat to see all the great cars at the drive-in for the last 2 years. It's been a sellout show, Palmer commented. People come from all over the area to see a drive-in movie, he said. We get people from Waco, Killeen, Temple, and other surrounding towns most every weekend. Many times we'd have travelers on Highway 36 stop in and ask if we're still open, and they'll stay in town just to see a drive-in movie. Most of them haven't been to a drive-in movie in years, and it really seems to be something popular among those in the younger generation who have never seen one in their life. Before the next year, the name will probably be changed again, said Palmer. He's working on getting a neon sign that will read, "The Last Drive-In Picture Show." Here in the cinema projection booth with Arlen Thiel instructing us on how to start the cinema movie.
Okay. First of all, the first thing I'm going to talk to y'all about is how the movie comes to us. It's shipped in these cans right over here. And it usually takes about 7 of these reels to make up one movie. And what we have to do, we usually will have to take the reel, put it on this machine, and run it up to here. And then we use this machine right here to splice the tape and stick the other one together. Okay, to tell you how long a movie really is, this is 1 square of film. It takes about 960 of these to make up 1 minute. So, you know, hours could take up many squares. Okay, first of all, when you're threading up a machine, the first thing you need to do is make sure everything's out of the way. And you come over to here, and you run it through this thing, which we call the brain, but it's probably called something else. It's just a little nickname we gave it. Okay, and then you run it up to these rollers up here, and you turn on the machine. You roll it up to this top roller, run it up to this other roller, run it to this bottom roller, over back to this bottom roller, up to this is what we call the M spot. This controls the speed of how it's going to move. You run it through this, you come back up through here, and run it to the second platter. We do this now so we won't have to rewind the film like they did back in the old days. Okay? So now we come over to here, and now we're going to run it through these, what we call sprockets. You close this. Go down to this sprocket. Close this. Come down to here. Over to here. And back to here. We roll it up. And this is what we do to start the movie.
That about wraps it up. I hope you learned as much and enjoyed it as much as I did. And until next time, this is Aaron Palmer signing off.